Let me tell you about the day our quiet little corner of Maple Grove Estates turned into a full-blown suburban war zone. Picture it. Rows of identical two-story colonials with perfect green lawns, white picket fences that never saw a fight, and kids riding bikes like they were in a toothpaste commercial. Everybody smiled at block parties, waved at the mailman, and pretended the HOA was just there to keep things nice. Yeah, right. Behind the scenes, it was a kingdom run by Barbara Kensington, Barb to her face, Karen to everyone who'd ever crossed her. She had that razor-sharp bob haircut that looked like it could slice through red tape, and a clipboard permanently glued to her hand like a badge of tyranny. She'd been HOA president for 6 years, pushing updated aesthetic standards that somehow always benefited her brother-in-law's paving company. We all knew it, but nobody said it out loud. Until the morning it hit my house. I'm Jake Rivera, 34, divorced IT guy who just wanted peace after moving back in with my dad. Everybody calls him Pop, to help him after his hip surgery. Pop's 72, retired contractor, the kind of guy who still wears flannel shirts in July and can fix anything with duct tape and a glare. Our driveway, beige concrete, poured 10 years ago with full city and old HOA approval. Smooth, functional, nothing flashy. But to Barb, it was loud beige, a crime against property values. She'd started with the small stuff, fines for my grass being half an inch too tall, then a warning about my trash cans visible for 3 extra minutes on pickup day. I stayed quiet, paid the stupid fees, kept my head down. Pop told me to document everything, so I did. Phone videos, time-stamped photos, emails. I thought it was overkill. Boy, was I wrong. Sunrise that Saturday, the sky was pink and peaceful, birds chirping like nothing bad ever happened in America. I was sipping coffee on the porch when the diesel roar split the morning like a chainsaw through silk. A yellow bulldozer the size of a small tank rumbled onto our grass, bucket gleaming like it had a personal grudge. The driver wore neon vest and those mirrored sunglasses that scream, "I'm just following orders." And right beside him, Barb, clipboard raised like a battle flag, her polo shirt starched so stiff it could stand alone. "Non-compliant aggregate," she sang out, voice all syrupy authority. "Slope violation, color disruption. HOA compliance correction approved." She pronounced color like it was a felony in 3 states. The bucket slammed down. Gravel exploded. My coffee mug jumped off the rail. Pop burst out the screen door in pajama pants and slippers, shovel in hand like Excalibur. "You touch 1 more inch of that driveway, and I'll make sure you regret breathing," he growled. Barb didn't even blink. "Sir, this is for the community good. Your loud beige depreciates everyone's values." Pop laughed, dry and dark. "Community good? Lady, that's code for your brother-in-law needs the job." Neighbors started peeking, Mrs. Alvarez across the street watering the same rosebush 3 times, the twins filming on their phones like it was TikTok gold. I ran inside, grabbed the sacred blue binder Pop kept in the hall closet. Every permit, every stamped approval, even the one with Barb's own initials from 10 years back. I sprinted out waving them. "Look, approved slope, approved mix, your signature right here." Barb flicked through the pages like they were takeout menus. "Outdated," she snapped. "New guidelines ratified last month. Beige is disruptive. We're installing tasteful gray at your expense." The bulldozer revved again. Pop stepped in front of it, shovel grounded. Over my cold, retired body. The driver hesitated, but Barb blew a whistle she absolutely didn't need. "Proceed." Sparks flew when the bucket hit something metal underneath. A hollow clang echoed like the driveway was hiding a secret. Pop crouched, hand on the dust. "That ain't ours." Barb rolled her eyes so hard I swear the wind changed. "Probably your illegal rebar. Keep digging." But I saw it. The plate was old, unmarked, city issue maybe. And for the first time, Barb looked nervous. Just a flicker. The neighbors whispered. Tension thick as the diesel smoke. I felt that first twist of anger in my gut. This wasn't about concrete. This was control. And we were just getting started. The bulldozer kept chewing while the whole block turned into an audience. "Mr." Hawkins lowered his newspaper like a shield. "Mrs." Alvarez muttered. "Is that even legal?" The twins zoomed in for close-ups. Barb snapped selfies with the machine, documenting compliance for the newsletter. as if she'd scaled Everest instead of ruining a driveway. Pop whispered to me, "Get the camcorder." I did. Old thing with the dented battery door. He filmed every swing of the bucket, every spark, every time Barb barked proceed. The metal plate kept singing, clangs turning into groans like something underground was clearing its throat. The driver finally killed the engine. "Ma'am, there's something big under here." No flags, no markings. Barb waved it off. HOA takes responsibility. Finish the job. But I saw her text her brother-in-law fast, fingers flying. That's when I started really watching. Next morning she was back, strutting the cul-de-sac in her visor, lecturing everyone on evolved standards. Her pamphlet was glossy, her own house on the cover with its perfect charcoal driveway that looked like depression in stone form. "Driveways must be subdued tones only," she announced to no one and everyone. "Loud colors disrupt harmony." Pop held it at arm's length. "So my beige is too loud, but your rules are silent dictatorship?" The twins snorted. One yelled, "Your rules are louder than my Xbox." Laughter rippled, but Barb's smile stayed glued. She slapped a $500 a day fine on our mailbox. Until corrected. Pop plucked it off. "Fine me for existing? What's next? Penalty for breathing." "Don't tempt me," she smirked. I stayed patient on the outside, but inside I was boiling. Every night I scanned the binder again, cross-checked city records online. Pop and I sat in the garage. He called it his war room, smelling of sawdust and old coffee. He spread butcher paper, drew arrows, muttered about strategic pour and gravity as accomplice. I thought he was joking until he called Larry at the supply yard for curved forms and extra bags. For the garden, he lied smoothly. Larry chuckled like he'd heard this before. We staged planter boxes along the wounded edge, filled with soil and petunias. Labels read, "Patience," "Mercy," "Compliance," and one buried that just said Barb. The Labrador supervised like he knew the plan. Meanwhile, Barb prowled, clipboard out, texting inspectors she'd invited for tomorrow. The tension built like a storm. Neighbors stopped pretending to water plants. They just stood on lawns, whispering. I felt the sympathy shift. People who'd paid their own fines now saw the pattern. But Barb doubled down, announcing in the group chat she'd streamlined decision-making by firing half the board. Pure ego. Then came the morning the city trucks rolled in. Barb beamed like it was her coronation. "Over here, the violation I warned you about." She marched toward our torn driveway, heels clicking victory. The inspectors knelt by the exposed plate, frowning. "Not on our maps," one said. Barb seized it. "See? Hazard. Unsafe. I demand correction." But the lead guy gave her a flat stare. "Ma'am, you're not city. You're HOA." That's when Pop leaned in close to me and grinned. She just stepped in her own trap. The plate hummed again, faint but real. And that's when I found the email, buried in old HOA archives I'd paid a small fee to access. Dated 2 years ago. Barb warning her brother-in-law about potential unmarked utilities, but telling him to bid anyway. She knew. She'd risked it all for the contract money. The twist hit me like the bucket itself. This wasn't just rules. This was fraud. I didn't confront her yet. Pop's eyes lit up when I showed him the printout. "Patience, kid. We let gravity write the next chapter." That night we worked like thieves. Forms curved exactly where Barb always parked her shiny luxury SUV. Half on our property line because HOA president privilege. We mixed under moonlight, the pour smooth and deliberate. Planters hid the edges. Wet paint signs went up, polite but clear. By sunrise it looked like innocent garden expansion. Compliant. Beautiful. The Labrador even left a paw print for authenticity. Barb arrived with the inspectors, SUV gleaming, parked right on the fresh section like she owned the world. "See? This is what non-compliance looks like," she trilled, gesturing at our torn driveway. Pop sipped coffee on the porch, shovel casual. She literally cemented her own fate. The inspectors clustered around the plate, radios crackling. One tapped it. Elevated readings. "Something active down there." Barb interrupted. "Fix it. That's your job." But the lead guy turned on her. "Ma'am, you ordered demolition without utility clearance. That's on you." Her face twitched. Then she tried to leave, heels clicking toward her SUV. She slid in, engine roared, wheels spun, and nothing. The fresh concrete had set just enough. Back tires locked in like it was hugging family. Smoke rose. Rubber screamed. The car lurched an inch, then thunked deeper. The crowd that had gathered, Mrs. Alvarez with muffins, the twins live-streaming, Mr. Hawkins with his newspaper, lost it. She's stuck. Phones flew up. Someone yelled, "Concrete karma." Barb's window flew down. "This is vandalism. Sabotage." Pop leaned on his shovel. "No, ma'am. You parked on fresh work. Signs were there. Physics did the rest. The inspectors examined our permit. City-approved improvement." They nodded. "Looks compliant to us." Barb exploded, calling 911, AAA, even the mayor. Each call louder, more desperate. The tow truck arrived. Driver took one look and doubled over laughing. "Lady, that car's part of the driveway now. Jackhammer only." Barb turned purple. "I'll sue everyone." Pop raised his mug. "Don't forget the petunias. They're the real masterminds." Laughter rolled like thunder. But underneath, the plate started humming louder. Inspectors went pale. "Whatever's under there is waking up, and your unauthorized dig caused it, MS. Kensington." That was the twist sinking in for everyone. Barb had endangered the whole block for a payout. Neighbors who once feared her now filmed her meltdown with zero sympathy. I felt the anger turn to cold satisfaction. She'd picked the fight. Now the ground was fighting back. By afternoon, the cul-de-sac was a circus. Folding chairs appeared. Someone brought popcorn. Barb marched circles around her trapped SUV, clipboard waving like a white flag that had surrendered. "This is terrorism," she shrieked. Pop just watched from the porch, serene. Most folks park in garages if they don't want concrete hugs. The twins chanted cemented, cemented, like a playground song. Even the Labrador wagged along. Police showed up, 2 officers who looked like they'd drawn the short straw for HOA calls. Barb pointed. "Arrest him. He sabotaged my vehicle." The first officer crouched, touched the concrete. "Ma'am, you parked on active work." Signs were clear. The second one whistled. "Nice pour, though." Barb's scream could have powered the block. She called the fire department, the mayor again, anyone who'd listen. Each time the crowd cheered louder. Mrs. Alvarez sold concrete crunch muffins. Lemonade stand added Barb's special, extra sour. The plate kept groaning. Inspectors returned with more gear. Activity increasing. Possible old gas access or storm hatch. Never documented because someone buried the paperwork. They looked straight at Barb. She tried to spin it. "That's his hazard." But the lead inspector shook his head. "Your demolition order caused the breach. City liability now traces to HOA president." That's when the crack happened. Not the concrete failing, but tightening. The SUV sagged deeper. Barb leapt back like the ground was lava. Phones captured every second. The tow driver crossed himself. "Nope." Pop whispered to me. "Lesson 1, never fight time. Lesson 2 is still writing itself." Barb finally stormed off on foot, heels stabbing gravel, muttering about lawsuits. But the damage was done. Her SUV sat tilted, wheels buried, a monument to ego. Neighbors who'd stayed silent before now openly joked. She wanted compliance, got it in stone. I felt the shift. Sympathy for us had become collective fury at her. The twist had spread. Everyone knew she'd risked safety for profit. The stage was set for the final act. Courtroom smelled like old wood and desperation. Barb strutted in like she owned the bench, blazer screaming executive, clipboard clutched like armor. Pop carried the blue binder like scripture. Neighbors packed the gallery, muffins from Mrs. Alvarez, twins in concrete happens shirts. Even the tow driver sat back, phone ready. Barb went first. "Your Honor, sabotage. My luxury SUV imprisoned in cement by this man's malicious pour." The judge raised an eyebrow. "Imprisoned." She slammed pamphlets down. "His driveway violated standards. Non-compliant color, slope, everything." Judge thumbed through. "Printed at Staples? And your bylaws." Pop slid the real documents over. Page 42. Approved beige, your initials, ma'am. Judge adjusted glasses. "This is your signature." Barb flushed. "Forgery." The courtroom laughed. Pop raised a brow. "So I forged your name approving myself? What kind of idiot crime is that?" Photos came next. Fresh pour, signs, Barb's SUV nestled like a cherry on a cake, Labrador paw print for proof. Why park on wet cement? The judge asked. Barb sputtered. He tricked me. Pop folded his arms. Gravity volunteered. The judge sighed. Case dismissed. Damages to Mr. Rivera for materials, labor, and harassment. Misuse of HOA power noted. Gallery erupted. Claps, whistles, muffins flying like bouquets. Barb shrieked. This isn't over. Pop stage whispered for the whole room. Sweetheart, only thing regretting anything is your SUV. It regrets trusting you to park. Bailiffs escorted her out still yelling. But the real hammer fell outside. City inspectors waited in the hall. MS. Kensington, your unauthorized demolition damaged undocumented utility infrastructure. HOA board suspended pending full audit. Possible fraud charges for concealed safety risks and contractor kickbacks. Her face crumpled. The plate, now exposed in daylight, had forced city excavation. Old records surfaced. Barb had buried complaints, changed rules retroactively, pocketed referral fees. She was out. Fined 6 figures. Her SUV needed a jackhammer crew that took 3 days and cost more than the car itself. Back home, the block threw a party. Concrete still held her SUV hostage until the crew arrived. Neighbors cheered every chisel strike. Pop raised his shovel like a toast. Never pick a fight with time or concrete. I stood there, binder closed for good, watching Barb's kingdom crumble. The ground had finally spoken, and the lesson rang clear. Mess with regular folks long enough, and even the quietest driveway will bury you. Justice wasn't just served, it was poured, set, and permanent. And the whole neighborhood slept better knowing one Karen had finally been cemented in her own ego forever.